Hey there, it's David, the ADHD LGPC, and today we're talking about boundary crossing versus boundary violation, brought to you by Ghosts, ignoring boundaries since forever. So, we're talking about boundary crossing versus boundary violation. I know in the last video I talked a lot about boundary crossings of all different types, and so what do I actually mean by that? Well, a boundary crossing is a small overstepping across someone's boundaries without malintent. So, for instance, let's say you go to sleep at midnight, reasonable time, and you have a friend who calls you at 1 a.m. They call you at 1 a.m. and they're like, "Hey, what's up? Let's go out drinking." And you're like, "Yo, I go to sleep by midnight. Let's not." Okay, they called once. That's fine. Let's say they call the next day and the day after you've told them, "Please don't do this." This is when we get into a boundary violation. This is when someone is stepping across your boundaries despite your affirmations that you do not want them to. And you've delineated your clear boundaries and they step right across them. That is a boundary violation. So, one-stop things, like let's say that same friend has an emergency, 2 a.m., they have to get home, they've been drinking, they can't drive, they absolutely need to get home. And for some reason there's no Ubers, nothing else available, and they call you. Well, you're going to be there for them. And so, okay, you pick that up, you pick up the phone, you're like, "Okay, you called me, and I can come get you." Or, "I can't come get you." But either way, that calling that time, more of a boundary crossing. Boundary violation again, if they called you every single day. And so that's the difference, is really like once you have set up your boundaries and told them your boundaries, a one-time breaking it for no malintent, for no bad reason, is a crossing. Or if they don't know the boundary exists, that could also be a crossing. Boundary violation, they do know it exists, you've straight up told them this boundary exists, and they ignore you completely, that's a boundary violation. And so we're talking about being firm with your boundaries. When a boundary crossing occurs, that's a good time to tell someone, "Hey, by the way, these are my boundaries. Like, you've made me uncomfortable. The way you touched my arm during that conversation made me uncomfortable. I would appreciate if you didn't do that in the future." Okay, you've now set your boundaries. And then the next conversation, they touch your arm again during that conversation, that would then be a boundary violation. So, to overview it one more time, we have boundary crossings, boundary violations. Crossings, no malintent, one-time occurrence, unintentional crossing of a boundary. Boundary violation, repeated offenses where they've ignored your previous requests, "Please respect my boundaries," and they don't. Once we get to boundary violations, you have to be much more firm about holding in place your boundaries, or reconsider the attitude towards relationship in general. Is this relationship I can continue? Is this relationship I can't? Anyway, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.